Bit controversial, but blindness can be funny. There, I said it. Before you hammer me in the comments, please just hear me out. It's not blindness itself that's funny. For some people, their blindness is traumatic and it's no laughing matter. But some of the stories it causes are funny. Like the time I was nearly banned from the supermarket for laying on the floor. Or the time my friend's guide dog delivered a very unwelcome parcel to an innocent bystander, and we'll get to both of those. But first, let's talk about why people are really uncomfortable when I joke about blindness. They either treat it like it is too sacred to mention, and look, I absolutely get that, because people don't want to be mean. People are kind, right? So they're always wanting to do the right thing. For me, when I make a joke about not being able to see or about my brain abnormalities and all the rest of the stuff I've got going on, I'm trying to break down barriers and save you from feeling uncomfortable. So please feel free to laugh. The other way people go is to think that everything is fair game. And look, both of those approaches, are quite extreme, but neither are quite right. So what's the rule? It's actually quite simple. If I'm laughing, then you're good. If I'm not, maybe refrain. But it's more than that. Timing matters, as does who's telling the joke. So like when I walked hard into a wall, bang on, and I bounced off, and my friend nearly wet herself because she thought it was the funniest thing she had ever seen. I didn't. I was embarrassed and felt small and stupid. But now it's actually comedy gold, because enough time has passed for me to get over myself. And look, I didn't hurt myself, but boy, I hurt my pride. Fresh pain is not that funny. But a bit of distance is okay if the humour is shared. So now, if I am involved in any sort of blunder or embarrassing moment, the first thing I think, apart from trying to get over my embarrassment, is I can't wait to formulate it into a story so I can share it with you guys. So, and that's a really positive thing for me to be able to do, coming out of something that could be actually quite negative. And so here's where it also gets a little bit more sticky. Remember the supermarket story I mentioned earlier? So I was shopping and a lady asked me if I could read the price for her of a product on the bottom shelf. And of course I couldn't. So I decided to get down, and I'm laying down on the floor on the lino with my phone, trying to get the phone up to the product to get the price so I could tell her. And she's like, oh, no, you don't need to do that. And I'm thinking, mate, you asked me for the price. This is my process. And by the way, it was $4.95. And you can laugh at this because I've lived that story and I've chosen to share it, and the punchline is the situation. The punchline isn't me. However, if someone else tells that story about, oh, there was this disabled woman laying down in aisle 5, well, that's not cool. So it really depends on who's telling it. If it's not your story, it's not your joke to tell. But sometimes other people nail the humour better than I do. For example, I was meeting a friend for coffee, and we're sitting down, and she said, where'd you park? And I thought, I just didn't know what to say, because I thought, is she joking or what's the deal? It turned out that she'd forgotten that I can't see to drive. So now, whenever we catch up, we always start about this parking spot update and make it really complicated and so on. And it's fun, and it's not at my expense, and because it's not about me, it's about the situation, and it is shared. And that guide dog story, a mate and I were out, and she had just got this new guide dog, first guide dog, and the guide dog had a bit of an accident on the footpath. So of course, being a good guide dog and responsible guide dog owner, she collected the poop in a bag and was ready to bin it. And that's fine. She asks me where the bin is, and remembering, like, my vision's not the best either. It was good compared to hers. Anyway, I said, yes, it's straight ahead, a couple of meters straight ahead, and then veer to the left. And that's fine. So she did that. And I was not paying attention, doing something else or whatever. And I hear this, excuse me. And it turns out that my friend, instead of finding the bin, had found a lady's handbag and was desperately trying to stuff the dog bag full of poo into that handbag. And it was probably my fault. It was probably my fault. And that's a shared story that friend and I have about that particular situation. And yes, I did ask her permission before I actually shared it with you today. And we laugh about it because it's ridiculous. And the situation is the punchline. Sometimes people say things that they regret. And as soon as it's out of their mouth, they're like, oops. And it's things like, oh, but you didn't see that coming, and stuff like that. And look, that's mostly fine because people don't mean to be intentionally mean. And once I was in Vegas and a couple actually paid an usher to move my friend and I from where we were sitting to the front row because they thought that they had offended me. And they made some joke about, you know, being blind or whatever. And of course they hadn't offended me, but I was wrapped. Like I still couldn't see properly, but we got to the front row and I was absolutely wrapped. But if I had $1 for every time somebody felt really guilty about something inappropriate that they might have said, I could hire my own chauffeur. Well, what am I saying? I've got my own chauffeur and that's my husband and I pay him in snacks. So yes, you can laugh, just be smart about it. Don't punch down, and if in doubt, take the cue from that, you know, almost blind chick on the internet who's missing an eye and doesn't care because, gee, there's great stories in having a plastic eye, let me tell you. In the description, I've linked to some brilliant disabled comedians. Check them out and laugh with them because that's actually sort of the point. Bump the subscribe button because I bump into things all the time, so it'd be great if you did too. And look, I'll be seeing you.